This video is 4 key tips to remember when getting better at darts. Hi all, if you haven't seen me before, I'm Ronnie Rickner, professional darts coach and also player. So for me, I wanted to do a little video here today. It's around that time of year where people are getting dartboards, people are getting into darts, and also the experienced players, sometimes watching the World Championships and stuff like that, re-enlivens a little passion, you know, sitting in the breaks, wanting to have a throw. I know it does for me personally, even though I'm there with players often. So for me, I just want to do some really key tips that is easy to remember when you're trying to get better at darts, whether you've just started playing or you've been playing a while. So tip number 1 I'm going to come to you with. When you're first aiming at the treble, because obviously treble 20 is going to be the main one people are going at. When you're first aiming, do not aim here and try and get your dart here, or try and get it here. I'm going to tell you something the opposite. It sounds really silly, but just when you first started especially, or when you're just trying to get back into it and build a little bit of confidence when you get better, start to aim just above. And there's a big reason for that. This is the same sometimes in pros, sometimes in semi-pro, even in basic amateur level. You want to make sure your first dart when you're practicing is just above the treble. If you throw with your darts at this angle when they come in. If you throw flat, below is okay. Yeah, so you have to pay attention to how your darts sit. So your darts are either going to sit like this in the board, which is flat, or here, somewhere varying from there to there, then you're throwing flat, okay? So as they sit, or for a lot of players, when they most start out, they're going to be there to pretty much there. They're the ranges, so that's normal, and this is stacking or flat. Either or, you have to adjust where you want to sit in. So if you're going to be someone who's throwing and you're sitting in the dart, and your darts sit flat in the board like this, flat, yeah, or anywhere from there down, you want to make sure you're this point here, onwards, because the next dart that comes in can go straight away, hit the barrel and go on top when you get a little bit more accurate. And the opposite is to be said, that's where you want your start point wants to be, because as you again come in and follow the same dart, naturally your barrel's going to hit and go in. That's a basic fundamental of hitting more trebles, hitting more 180s. You know, what you'll find is often, when people say, oh, well, you're just going to throw above, you're going to throw 60s. I promise you, the lower you go down in this treble, the more likely you are to drag 1 or 5, which will do nothing for your confidence. So being here, that's not a bad dart, because you're either going to follow it, or guess what? You're going to hit a 60. Hitting one up there, great. They're straight darts, because the easiest thing in the world to do, the same as when you go up here, relax them fingers, the darts will start to drop in. So you're going to throw exactly the same dart, exactly the same trajectory. You're just going to relax your fingers very slightly, little just gentle feeling that you're going to relax as you come through, and the darts will start to drop in. There's a reason why we say it's a good marker, because if you throw the dart there, if you throw exactly the same or just below, or like you just relax your fingers, you will find it slips in there and then straight in the bed. Same for most places on the board. There is places on the board where you sometimes have to throw a little bit differently. So for example, if you're going to double 16 and you're on the wire here, you're actually going to have to throw slightly harder or faster to get it over the top of there. Or you can move to the side. But this is what you're going to be aiming for, to bang into the barrel, you know? So there's a lot of key statistics that you're going to get better from throwing straight darts. Hence why people who generally throw straight, they often win a lot of amateur matches, because they're not dragging 1s, 5s, they're not hitting the 11s, a 3, for example, something like that. So if you can be straight and be in the right position coming to the treble, that's where you want to be. Either here for vertical standing shafts, or for here for people who throw flat. So first of all, you might not know whether you throw flat or vertical. So have a look at the board, come along the side. If you're like this, then you want to sit below with the first dart. If you're like this, you want to sit above. That's tip number 1. Right, number 2 is a very key one. Most people don't realise this, but when you throw around the board at doubles, you will probably throw slightly differently for each one, because they're all a different angle. For example, I can only tell you me personally. When I throw at double 20, I feel in my arm like I have to have a nice straight, slightly aiming up, follow through as I come through. So I'm fully throwing, no tension, nothing. And as I'm coming through, I'm making sure that if I'm going to miss, I'm generally going to miss a little bit high, because I don't really want to go to the 10s if I can't help it. I want to miss high, so I can adjust. Worst case, I have to relax my fingers a little bit again, and then I'm either going to go in on the last one then. So I'm just relaxing a tiny incremental bit every time. Now, if my dart's sat flat, generally, I'd either want to move to the left or right, but because they sit up like this when they go on the board, I know I've got room in there to either hit into the barrel or I can just relax them fingers. And it's just a little tiny, losing a little bit of tension in your fingers. Just try it. Just try throwing one up there, and then just try exactly the same throw, but just try and relax in your fingers. Don't try and aim down. Just keep the same aim every time. Right, and then if we go to here, for example, when I throw at this, let's say I miss on the outside wire here, and my dart's sitting like that. I will generally either step to the right, so I'm coming in more at this angle, so I know I'm going to hit into the barrel here, or I will just try and throw the same top just on top. Worst case, because if I hit anything in here, I've got somewhere to go. So if I hit the 16s, I can go straight to double 8. So if my second dart comes over the top here, there's nowhere here I'm going to go really wrong. If here, again, I've still got another one to go at it. Whereas if I start moving over generally, which I generally don't, I can go in here, it puts me on a different number. You know, I can miss low again, which again blocks it again. So I will generally try to aim high. But when I'm aiming at the first dart, I will stand back and I will move personally slightly to the left-hand side. So I'm in line with this, coming all the way back to the offie. So it's a nice straight throw and I'm coming to drop in from it. So if I go in the 16s, yeah, I'm in here, straight away, I'm going to double 8. Now for me, when I throw at double 8, it feels very straight for me. So I'm almost like, if you see me, I'm standing almost in line with a bit of a parallel vision into that. The same as 11. And for me, the same as double 6. That's the straightest one on the board for me, because I'll move over on the board, I'll stand a little bit to that, and I'll go straight at it. And I'll always try and aim on the outside wire of it, because I know I can adjust very well and just relax them fingers and it will go in generally. So for me, every point on the board, like for example, if I throw at, let's say I throw at 19s, for example, I will make sure that I'm aiming just on the outside wire, so I know I can come and just bounce on top. What I won't do is I won't just every single one just try and throw at it straight at it every time. So I'm just going, you know, I'm 19. Where have I got to go now? I've got to go to there. I will generally aim just on the outside wire of something, or just on the. If I'm going to go in, I want to be down here downwards. I don't want to be, unless it's a number that doubles down nicely, for example, like double 16. Obviously, if you go 16, you can go straight to double 8. If it's 19s, for example, I don't really want to hit 19s there. I want to try and get it either first dart in or just on the wire, so I know I can go at it. And there's different conventional advice. I'll just go at it every time, but most pros you will see, and good players, they will have an aim point that they're either going just in, just on the outside wire. Hence why you see so many games, last dart in hand, you know, you've got one like this, and then the last one just over the top, bang. And that's how championships and other games are won. So find an aim point that you're comfortable with. For example, if you don't believe me, throw 20 darts at double 20, and then try and throw 20 darts at double 10, double 15. If you're telling me you think they're not different, then carry on doing what you're doing. But if you feel there's a slight difference how you go for them, good, you're on the right track. So pay attention how you go. What I don't try and do is go in 15s, I don't try and go on the inside. I try and make sure I'm just, I feel like it's similar to 10s, I've just got to throw a little bit more power, and I probably try and aim for the top sort of section of this. So pick a spot on each one of them that suits you. If you have a throw that goes slightly to the left, for example, when you're going there, you want to be aiming up here somewhere, so you've got a little bit of drift in so you can come in. What you don't want to do is going up there and leave yourself on 30. So pay attention to what your darts are doing, that's tip number 2. Point number 3. Now this is probably one of the most important things that people don't talk about. Practice being straight in the board. Don't just practice everything around. Practice actually drilling your arm to throw straight. And when I say that, what I mean is practice building discipline and throwing there, throwing here, you know, throwing here, not, you know, throwing straight. The straighter you get your darts, ultimately, doing a drill like this one is pretty good. When you're basically going for them 3, it's pretty good. It's very difficult to get all 3 of them in, especially once you start getting one and then you get another and you've got to get the last one. But it will give you discipline to get them in. So a good drill to try is try and get all 3 of these in. You know, it will probably destroy your soul if you're not been playing that long. So I'd just say work up to the levels, you know. But a top pro player, top in the world, will probably do that within about, you know, 10 or 15 goes. They'll be pretty close. This will be probably the one that they'll miss on sometimes, you know, and might just go low, but they'll start to find the range on it. They can do it sometimes first go is easier, but generally that's where you're at with it. So what I'd say to that is practice straightness. So another good drill to do, I've said this in many videos, 20-20s, trying to get 20 in the single 20 bed, but include that. If you throw there, that's not a bad dart. People might make a joke out of it in the pub where, oh, you've got that one for free. Guess what? They all count, you know. You wouldn't care if you won a championship on double one, or a pub tournament on double one, or in the midst of winning that leg, you hit yourself a double 20 in the middle of scoring. No one cares. You know, it is what it is. People might moan about it, but take the points. Don't apologise for it. And if you're someone who does apologise for it, stop doing it. They all count. You know, it doesn't matter if you take a shot out on the ball to win a leg. It doesn't matter whether you win on double 11. They're all counting, because at some point, someone will throw a loose dart that they didn't intend to, and they'll have a bit of fortune. That is darts, unfortunately. You just don't want it to be you on a really, really important leg, because then it obviously hurts a bit. But just accept it for what it is. But practicing straight drills, and I'll do some more coming up with some more videos I'm going to release anyway, because that is my full-time job now, is a professional darts coach. And obviously, for people who don't know, I'll play on the Challenge Tour, and obviously my aim at some point in the future is to be able to get a tour card, but it takes a long time coming, and obviously my full-time thing is coaching, and that's what I do. So I hopefully will keep getting better and better and better, and for those who are interested in that, follow my Instagram, and that's in the bio. So yeah, but tip number 3 is throwing for straightness is key. So making sure you're doing drills that practice you're not going here and here. And the easiest way to do that is aiming this part of the bed up. If you're trying to aim in there's not a pro in the world right now that can hit 20-20s every time just sitting in this low bit. They're probably more likely to go in the treble 20. If you try and get them just going in this area here, they are going to drag ones and they are going to drag 5s. But if you ask them to go here, they'll all be able to do it pretty much here, 20-20s, and the odd one might drag over, but they'll go all day at them. If you send them here, they'll go for a long time doing that. So for me, aiming at a point where you're making it easy for yourself. So aim higher, first of all, is that key tip. Aim higher and practice straight drills. There's no point in you practicing and mindlessly throwing at the treble 20 and then every one of your darts is near. You've got to, this is not okay. You need to be able to pull that in. And the way to do that is to give yourself confidence, so you relax it when you throw, and start throwing up here. The better you get, the more you can slightly come down, and all you need to do is throw a straight dart, and guess what? Relax your fingers, and the darts will come down. Or throw the same dart and just change your body angle. So instead of throwing like this, you're just leaning forward, or you're leaning back. And that brings me on to point number 4, which for me is probably one of the most underrated one, which helps a lot of people, and pros do this, they don't realise as well. Lots of amateur players do this. They lean too far forward in their throw. You have to get the velocity that you need in a dart to actually come forward, to lean forward, and then to manage to push the dart to get enough power from here is very difficult. There's not that many players that can do it whilst leaning all sort of crunched up. You've got long levers for a reason, so use them and actually use the levers to come through, and use your height. The easiest way to do something in darts is to lift up your body instead of being down here to try and reaching up further. Obviously I'm just doing it as an example, so I'll throw a couple in a minute, but is actually throwing, instead of everything trying to change your throw, or you're trying to throw harder, keep your throw the same. If you're still going here, just try to lean back a little bit and lift up. You know, so just try and put a little bit more weight on your back foot. Don't lean so far forward because you're collapsing. Lean a little bit further back and then try a nice follow through. If you find that leaning back a little bit more doesn't help you, and you're not getting enough power, or you're not getting high enough in here after leaning back, then you probably need to either develop a slightly better throw, like more velocity, which will come over time, so a harder throw or faster. Or you could try changing darts. So sometimes throwing a lighter dart, can help that. You know, it can just allow it to sit in that board a little bit more because it flies a little bit quicker in the air a lot of the time. You know, so you might be having too heavy a dart, for example. The other thing you can do is change your flights and stems. Changing your flights, having a slightly smaller flight will often allow the dart to go faster. One of the reasons I went with kite flights for a good while is because for me it gave me a little bit more velocity, but it also, if you find you're doing this a lot and smacking into them, kite flights can help quite a lot. So lean back for a little bit easier, especially when you first start out, because if you're leaning back, you're going to get a little bit more leverage, you're going to have a nice easier time, and it's also more repeatable because you've got less lean angle. You're not going to give yourself a bad back for practicing for 2 hours either. You know, all players really, a lot of them pro-wise, do probably lean a bit, in fairness, because they're getting a little bit closer, but they're also used to it. That's what they do all the time. And also, it's a little bit more repeatable when you do it, you know, for a lot of times, hours and hours a day. And they've got used to it. But also, even pros sometimes they can over lean one day. So therefore, then they're trying to get below the treble and then get above the treble. So they could also benefit from that as well. But yeah, lean back, tip number 4, and I'd like you to give that a try and see how you go. But please put any comments in the comment section, and yeah, hope you have a good time practicing. I'm gonna come out with some more videos, so anyone particularly wants to see, I'll be working on some stuff with that. So yeah, feel free to put anything you want to particularly see, but I'll definitely be coming more tips and to help you improve your darts game. So I hope this helps. You're giving yourself leverage, so instead of being down here, you know, we're not all Michael Van Gogh in, so let's just give ourselves a little bit of height. Use your height. It doesn't matter how tall you are, yeah, and just nice and high. Doesn't matter where they go, because for a minute they're going to go in a place where you don't want them. So just get them start going high before you start focusing on bringing them in. So just want to maintain your height. Just a little bit more weight on the back foot. That's where you want to be, just in the bed. That will give you a nice follow through. Look, one's dropped low. Yeah? One's dropped low, it's dropped in the treble, but it's a straight dart. This is the key point. What we don't want to do is, if I'm going to lose my height, watch what happens straight away. That's me trying to get it to the treble 20. I've got to throw much harder, then I'm going to have a loose one where I'm trying too hard. This is what happens all the time. Because once you warm up, and once you get a good thing under your belt, worst case you're dropping in. Yeah, that's okay. This little box here, that's where you want to be. For any amateur dart players, this is where you want to be aiming. If your dart's stacked, then obviously you don't. You want to be a little bit lower. It's a little more difficult. But if you're throwing conventionally, this area is fine. So imagine a little circle just up there, because it's easy to adjust. So I'm going to throw one now, and I'm just literally going to relax my fingers. Right, now I'm just going to relax my fingers and see what happens. Yeah, so let's try and go back to the first one. So let's aim up. Yeah. Nice relaxed fingers. That's fine all day you're doing that. Yeah, so just in this area. Just that's where I want to be aiming for, really, up here. If I'm throwing conventionally, just pay attention to what they're doing. That's not always about the treble 20. If you're not warmed up, you're going to start playing left to right, then you're going to doubt your throw. So just be patient, be up there. Look, we'll go for the double 20 point here, yeah, up there. Okay, fine, but it's a straight dart, right? And the last one was not a good one, but these are straight darts. It's fine keeping them there. So let's just work and get him back up there, yeah, just below, and then we're just coming down. Okay, that was a wayward one again, so now I just need to take a little bit more time. Yeah, just in that box zone. So we're just going in here. We're not worrying about this for a minute, we're just getting in here, because then when I want to, I can get zone in a little bit after our drills. See if I can get just above this treble. There we go, now we're starting to get the group in there. see if we can do a few more. The odd 1 or 5, I'm fine with that. I just don't want all 3 in there. There we go. Now we're grouping better now, so getting that swing of it. But this is just doing the drill above the treble. Even though we've still got a couple going low. That habit knows where it is, so that brain knows where that little high point sits. There we go. So again, just dragging that treble. That's all you need to do sometimes. That's, you know, for some people they might be better off just not aiming straight for the treble all the time. Do you know what I mean? You know, that their game suits being a little bit higher in the bed, but you know, as we get a little bit more warmed up, we're starting to find the range. And that's when you start, that one jumped up, but we're starting to find the range. There's a treble every go pretty much. So, and I reckon we could keep going on this for a good while. I reckon we can keep going on this for a good while, but you just got to make sure you're getting that first one where you want it. There we go, 180. There you have it. So, aim a little bit higher, make it a little bit easier for yourself.